I really feel privileged to be in the presence of Yogendra Narain ji, who has a long experience in the civil services and also in the functioning of the Indian parliaments. I would mention only two of his positions which he held. He was Chief Secretary to the Government of Uttar Pradesh and also the Secretary General of Rajya Sabha. Now you can imagine the type of experience, the type of opportunities of leadership that he got and utilized, and has a great name and fame amongst the illustrious bureaucrats of the country. I had the privilege of knowing him when we were students in Allahabad University, and later on also I have been in touch with him. He has very kindly agreed to talk to me about a couple of things. And the most significant thing that I want to know from you and know it for others also to come to consider it, to have a analysis of it. The issue that I want to discuss is of leadership. And I am also confining the arena to the first 5 decades after independence. That is by the time India reached the millennial transition stage, when we were transitioning to the 3rd millennium. So, Yogendra Narain ji, how do you think, how fortunate or otherwise India was to get a leadership at the time of independence? Why I am asking this? A large number of countries became independent at the midpoint of the 20th century. So many countries. And the leadership that emerged in most of them was not always necessarily successful. Many of them had a very unfortunate developments. Democracy did not survive in many of them. India has been appreciated for its democracy, the strength of democracy. And so naturally, leadership matters. So how were we prepared in the context of national leadership when we were transitioning to the 3rd millennium? We had the experience of around 50 years. So sir, you may like to tell us.
See, India has been a very successful democracy, and this has been in spite of ideological differences between various political parties. And not only political parties, differences between the state government's policies and the central government policies. In Kerala, we saw the first communist government, but no action was taken against it. People tolerated it, accepted it as a part of democracy.
Yes.
So I think in a large measure, we must credit our post-independence leaders with inculcating the spirit of democracy in India.
Correct, right.
Unlike Pakistan, where if one loses an election, military rule takes over, there's rioting, fighting, etc. Here, all the decisions of the ballot box are respected and accepted. And there has been no case where after a ruling party has lost elections, in any election, have they resisted handing over power. And I think it is also because of the strong fundamental belief we have in our own constitution drafted by ourselves, and which takes into account a number of myriad factors, including the reservation for the backward classes, the scheduled castes, and the economically weaker sections, and all the fundamental rights which have been given in the constitution. There has been a respect by all political parties of these constitutional provisions. And I think it's been a very successful democracy for this reason. And also, during this period, we saw the opening up of the economy, the opening up of international trade, and liberalization policies. And there has been no going back. And I think that is one reason I'm very optimistic about the future of India, because political parties respect these fundamental points given in the constitution: fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and the strong judiciary. Judiciary has maintained its independence also. So all these factors have contributed to the success of democracy, and I see this the coming decades as making democracy bloom further and further. We are already the fifth largest economy in the world. We are aiming to become amongst the top three and probably the top two later on. And the policies of all the governments that have come and gone have been to enrich this economy, to promote international trade, medium and small scale industries, development of infrastructure, which is going on at a terrific pace. And so I see this as a period of change and development, but a very period of very rapid change.
I normally say that 20th century was the century of change, and 21st century is the century of pace of change, because now, as you said, things are changing very rapidly.
Right.
Would you like to mention something about where political leadership succeeds when they have the strong support base of bureaucratic leadership, scientific leadership, economic leadership, and that is, I can say, expertise in different fields. That also helps, because the way we established institutions like IITs, IIMs in initial stages, the Bhabha Atomic Research Center and
Right.
all those, ISRO, etc., they have stood us in a very good state.
Yes.
Today, if we are on par in these areas, it goes to the credit of the leadership, which envisage these institutions, and obviously there were contributions from scientists, from people who provided leadership, and implementation requires strong bureaucracy, principled bureaucracy. So, would you like to say how our political leadership was supported by these sectors?
Certainly. See, political leadership lays down the objectives and aims of administration and of governance. The implementation and the carrying forward of the implementation of these objectives and acceptance of these objectives lies on the bureaucracy, both in the technical side as well as in the government side. We have been very fortunate in having top great scientists. As you mentioned, the Bhabha Atomic Research Institute. Then gradually we have set up IITs, Indian Institutes of Technology. Then subsequently Indian Institutes of Management. And then we have famous traditional institutes like Indian Institute of Science,
Yes.
which has been contributing immensely
Right.
in scientific development. Then we also started strengthening our defense research and development organization.
Correct.
So, and we had very strong leadership in all these sectors and in all these organizations. And we had very able, patriotic, and national-minded leaders in all these organizations. And this helped our economy and governance to improve. The civilian bureaucracy played its part by advising the ministers and also ensuring that what we are seeing abroad, can it be implemented in India? A lot of our bureaucrats went out. They also encouraged the politicians to go out and see the world and what is happening in various sectors. And the result was a turnaround of the thinking of not only the bureaucracy but of the politicians. They went abroad and saw what is happening, and they wanted to adopt those ideas, and they did adopt those ideas. Then they also went in for technology upgradation.
Right.
The politicians felt that without technology upgradation, improvement, continuous research, India will not be able to play the role of a wish guru as now the target is. So, technology upgradation they encouraged. They gave a lot of money for
yes.
for development of
Scientific
these
research and
scientific research.
Yes, sir.
And
Our
today,
CSIR was established, National Physical Lab, CSIR,
yes, all these were
regional
established.
laboratories. These were
And then it is because of the scientists that we got our first atomic
yes.
testing done, because we had famous scientists like our respected Abdul Kalam Saab. And then the DRDO scientists played their role.
Right.
So today, we are in a stage, Rajput Saab, where we are making our own planes.
We are making,
I was Defense Secretary when our scientific advisor in the Defense Ministry came on telephone and said, "Sir, we have flown our first plane," and this was 2001,
Yes.
the Tejas.
Tejas, yes. Now Tejas is being exported.
Yes. And I told our scientific advisor that don't worry about the criticism of Tejas. Now that you've built a platform on which we can go on improving,
Right.
we've got a base now. We don't depend on foreign countries.
Correct.
And this is what is happening. Today, Tejas, then tomorrow, Tejas Mark 1, then next year, Tejas Mark 3.
Right.
So we have got a platform and we are building our planes. We are also building our submarines.
Right. We are, yes, sir.
And we are building our own ships. So it's been a decade of very rapid advancement in various fields, and we are very proud of it.
In fact, I often mention in my lectures that the whole world started looking towards India because of our contributions in science and technology, because of our young persons who went to NASA in the initial years, in 60s, and established a name for themselves. And later on, you see the Silicon Valley, it is normally mentioned that it has been taken over by Indians.
Not all.
So all these things are because of the futuristic planning
Yes.
in the initial years by our visionary leaders.
Yes.
So we could be very proud of this.
Right.
Now, there are two things which I would like to mention here. You said strengthening of democracy. The name that comes to my mind is Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He lost by one vote. And instead of any other maneuvering, he went straight to the president. He accepted it. In the true spirit of democracy, went to the president and tendered his resignation. The other is when he, as a prime minister, our Pokhran 2 was done. I think it was a very bold decision. And you were defense secretary, you must be knowing everything about it. Tell us how these two things, how they reflect upon his personality. And also in general on the leadership.
See, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, as I see it, had two major points in his leadership. One was that he could manage to collect all the political parties on some national objectives.
Right. Correct.
He could garner their support. Secondly, he had no rancor against anybody, no individual, and everybody came, and if they wanted help, he gave them the help. Now, when the Pokhran 2 took place, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, in his mind, was steadfast that we have to become a nuclear power.
Yes.
He was steadfast in this. Earlier, it had happened in Mr. Narasimha Rao's time that when they wanted to have another test, the Americans objected, and they could find out that we are going to have another test. But so Kalam Saab and Atal Bihari Vajpayee went in such a way that USA had no inkling that we are going to have a nuclear test. All the satellites that were floating around the earth and trying to capture every development in India, whether there's going to be a test or not, could not discover this. And not only that, after the blast, USA, Japan, European countries, they put a lot of restrictions
So many.
on India. And Atal Bihari Vajpayee stood steadfast. He said, let the restrictions come, we'll face it. And the restrictions came, we formulated policies by which we could withstand those restrictions. Because Atal Bihari Vajpayee created an ecosystem whereby certain countries like Russia continued with their support even after these atomic blasts. So we had no problem in carrying out these blasts and also facing the restrictions. And finally, Clinton himself came in 2000 to again renew the Indo-US. And I, as Defense Secretary, we had our first meeting with the Under Secretary Defense, USA. And the Under Secretary renewed all the contracts which had been awarded to USA. They gave us the systems we wanted, like weapon locating radars. So they bowed down before Vajpayee.
They acknowledged the strength of Indian democracy and Indian leadership.
Yes.
And I can say that I remember how proud every Indian was that we could resist the restrictions imposed by the USA. And that our Prime Minister took a very bold decision.
Very bold decision.
So in a way, it also represents how strengthful our democracy has been, because the whole nation was with him.
Yes.
You have made a very significant point that Vajpayee has a national objectives in mind, and therefore political differences did not matter. What was in the interest of this nation was paramount.
Right.
Even party considerations may not be paramount. And I think there were some issues which his own party was very keen to bring to forefront, but he kept them aside, because
he did.
He kept them aside and focused on several things. I mean, people remember the Golden Quadrilateral, that initiative, because it helped so many, and is helped in the economic side also. That I think was very significant.
Rajput Sahab, I was the first chairman of the National Highway Authority, and I set it up in 1995. I was then in UP working with the Secretary to Governor, and I was called by the Cabinet Secretary that, would you like to take this charge? And he said, the authority...
But this National Highway Authority of India now, even today, when Mr. Gadkari is leading the entire thing, people are extremely happy about one particular point, and that is the infrastructure, the way the connectivity and other things are coming up in different areas also, but particularly in the road transfer. You have seen the leadership from very close quarters at the state level and also at the national level. Would you like to mention one or two names which you think really had a very cordial, who could inspire bureaucracy? That was very significant. An inspired bureaucracy is an asset to the nation and its progress and development. So, you may like to mention one or two?
Yes, certainly. I would like to mention, first of all, Narain Tiwari, who was my Chief Minister, and I was his Secretary to Chief Minister. And this is 1984, 85. And then I would like to mention Kalyan Singh. Kalyan Singh was a great administrator, firm in his mind on maintenance of law and order, and firm in his mind of not allowing his legislators to overlook the government officials or to harass them. And I remember in one case, when I was with Kalyan Singh, a district magistrate rang me up saying that the local MLA is abusing him because he has not agreed to certain proposals which were not in constitutional or law. and he's abused him on telephone. So Kalyan Singh said, "What's his name?" The legislator's name. I told him. He rang up the legislator and told him, "You will be dismissed. I will remove you from all posts. I will not allow you to contest the elections if you misbehave with my officers." So that was a great morale booster for all of us. And so I remember Kalyan Singh for being a very firm administrator, and he took the state forward because with his industrial policies, with his policies to help the weaker sections, because he himself was an OBC, and he did a tremendous job for the backward and the poor people. I also remember N.D. Tiwari because he was development minded.
Acha, good.
So he was interested in development and not interested very much in day-to-day administration or anything of that sort. But Kalyan Singh I would place a bit ahead of him because of his firmness as an administrator. And we all respected both these chief ministers for their various, qualities. So that's how it is.
And at the central level?
At the central level, I worked with Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I saw him as Defense Secretary, and I had also seen him earlier when I was Chief Secretary UP, and he had come to tour the flood-hit districts of Gorakhpur and Eastern UP. A very nice soul, a very nice person, and very firm in his decisions and decisive. He took immediate decisions and wanted them to be implemented also. So that was one quality. As Defense Secretary, I saw that, after the Kargil war and after we had driven the Pakistan intruders out, an inquiry, a committee was set up to find out why this incident occurred. Why did the Kargil war take place and why could we not prevent it further? That was headed by that famous Mr. Subramaniam, the father of our External Affairs Minister. He gave a very comprehensive report. And after that, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee immediately set up a ministerial committee to consider this report under Mr. Advani. Under Mr. Advani. That was set up and we made our recommendations. And I was very surprised because when it went up to the Cabinet Committee on Security, headed by Mr. Vajpayee, all the recommendations were accepted, except one, which was the Chief of Defence Staff. Here also. Why was it held up? Because there was opposition from a leading political party, and Vajpayee Saab felt that on this point where there has been an objection, we must wait and defer the decision till we can take them along also in our...
it was accepted. Now it stands accepted.
Now it stands accepted.
It stands accepted.
It stands accepted. It's been a major development for the armed forces.
Right.
And then in his time, a lot of public sector units were privatized.
Yes. They were.
They were privatized. He felt that economic development will take place when the private sector is inducted. In the telecom sector, you will see.
Too much happened. Yes,
he was the one who inducted the private sector in telecom sector. In defense production, I'll tell you a very simple thing.
So that is very significant of his times. Please tell us in detail about the defense. How, because we were known to be importing everything.
Yes.
Now we are in a different direction. So how this transition took place?
My defense minister was George Fernandez. When I came in, I had done a stint as Secretary Surface Transport looking after shipping and ports, where we were encouraging privatization at that time. So I put up a simple one-page note to George Fernandez saying that we should induct the private sector in defense production. It should not remain a secluded sector, and the private sector should not be excluded. See, earlier the policy was that in defense production only the government would set up these
That was the
industries.
policy, sir.
So George Fernandez took it up to Mr. Bajpayee, and the approval came the same day. And that's how the private induction of private sector in defense production has taken place. And now you see
So
there's so many industries in the private sector, the Tatas, the builders, the Mahindras group, etc. Everybody is now involved in the defense production. So this quick decision defense, Mr. Bajpayee was very, very strong in his firm feeling that the defense sector has to be strengthened, has to become self-sufficient. And he inducted the private sector straight off.
Now that you have this quick decision making is really a very positive thing in the personality of Bajpayee ji. But very often this reference is made to the plane hijacking, IC-814. And it was a tough situation, and we were also as citizens watching it every day. Now you must have your own assessment of that situation, the way it was handled.
You see, I've gone through the...
because you must have seen this.
There was a committee set up under the cabinet secretary to give directions on such a matter like hijacking. It had in its committee members people from RAW, IB, aviation sector, police, etc. Now, when the hijacking took place, the question was of the value of the lives of the passengers, and the other was the policy that we must never negotiate with the hijackers.
That's right.
It was, I think, around the end of December of 1999 when this happened. And the whole nation was in turmoil. They were seeing on TV. There were these passengers, one of whom had been killed by the hijackers. Now, I think Bajpayee ji preferred to save the lives of the passengers. I think that was a very humane gesture. Otherwise, following the policy strictly against hijackers would have resulted. We could have sent the commandos, we would have got inside entry, but would have led to a lot of casualties. So, we negotiated, and the 3 people whom they wanted, who were lodged in the jails of Kashmir and other states, were brought. But I see it as a symbol of the humanness of Bajpayee ji. Others might think it's why did we weaken before the hijackers? I don't see it from that viewpoint.
It was this element of his personality that when he became the foreign minister in the cabinet of Morarji Desai, the people in Pakistan had very different notions about him. But he changed it all. Pakistan started loving him. I think that is the humane aspect of the personality.
Right.
And broad-mindedness that.
And he was also very secular-minded. He was. And he had no animosities against any particular religious group or anything. And if you remember, he made that first bus journey to Pakistan.
Lahore, yes.
And then...
That was a great gesture.
And then he invited Musharraf for talks to solve the Indo-Pak...
In spite of the Kargil, he invited him.
So, he was very keen to see this matter being sorted out as early as possible. But Musharraf was Musharraf.
Right.
He had already, taken up the leadership of Pakistan. He was the one responsible for the Kargil war. So, but Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji continued stressing on the fact that we must have friendly relations with Pakistan.
The 3 terms which he mentioned in Kashmir, Kashmiriyat, Jamhuriyat, Insaniyat.
Right.
I think they also represent his personality.
Absolutely. Right. And I think the third point, Insaniyat is the major manifestation of all his policies. major reason why he took these decisions. So the infrastructure development also started in his time.
Yes.
Then there we had this Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana, Gram Sadak Yojana.
That was very significant. That was very.
So all these factors, he felt for the poor.
Yes, he felt for the poor.
And you know why? Because he was a poet at heart.
Yes.
I participated in his poet this thing in the IAC, and I think that was his basic nature.
Very significant. He was a poet, and his heart was in the right place.
Right.
That's why that was it. Was not. Now we come to slightly different thing. Education. That is the area in which I have worked.
Yes.
So, and I had the privilege of interacting with many in the world of science because I have a background of physics. I did my research in physics and spent 5 years in bureaucracy. How do we assess the developments in education? First, the 5 decades after independence. We were 18% in literacy. We are now at around 80% or more than that. And the population growth has been huge. So in that light, you have seen this, you have been a part of it, you have given leadership to education in a state like UP. So tell me your impressions about this.
You see, whatever others might say about India, that your literacy is only 78%, 79%, the fact is that today 2 major developments have taken place in the field of education. One is the slogan of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. It has transformed the thinking of the people.
Correct.
The other policy which he initiated was Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. Get all the young people into schools and colleges. And he succeeded. Today, I think the gross enrollment ratio is something like 99%, 98%. So that was a big boost he gave to the field of education. And then he used to continuously monitor the developments. I remember in UP, we had to send monthly reports on how many we have enrolled, how many new schools have come up, how many new universities have come up. Today, I am very happy to see that there are more women in the universities than there are men.
Yes, and they are doing better. They are doing better.
So, I think it's a result of these initiatives which he took.
I had the privilege of being in the NCERT at that time, when 2002 that constitution amendment also was made. The initial
right to education.
Right to education and the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan planning, etc. It definitely has transformed the attitudes. It brought an attitudinal transformation because in 70s when I began getting into the things, we used to talk about that, but people would say, why should we educate our children? That was a huge thing. Then gradually they started sending their boys. Why girls? Then girls came in the picture. And now I say today, by the end of the 5 decades, people now say, we will send both boys and girls, but we want to send them to good school.
In?
Good school. Now they don't want only education, they want good education with skills. That transition has taken place. And Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan definitely has made a big contribution. And I know that when books that we had prepared in NCERT were shown to Vajpayee ji, he was very happy because we had transformed the production side also. And he said, अब अच्छा है, ये किताबें ऐसी ही होनी चाहिए जो बच्चों को पसंद है.
Very good.
We did that part.
In this context, I would like to tell you, my maid servant, who is herself never gone to college, she insisted on sending her daughter to school. Her daughter was working in some house.
Correct.
So we asked this maid servant, why have you decided to send your girl to school? You've not educated her before. She says, now in the village, जब शादी होती है
हाँ,
तो लड़के वाले पूछते हैं कि कितनी इसने एजुकेशन की है, कौन सी क्लास तक पढ़ी है। इसलिए मेरे लिए ज़रूरी है, अगर शादी अच्छी जगह होगी पहले
तो
पढ़ा
ये
लो।
पढ़ाना जरूरी
सो दिस थिंकिंग हैज़ चेंज्ड.
yes.
So, and that's a big thing. If the thinking changes once and for all, it's a gradual, great transformation.
It is now. I don't think we can find any section in the society which is not interested in education of
Education.
their words.
Now, you mentioned about quality of education. I think that's the major. I would link with it the infrastructure
हाँ,
of schools and colleges also, because infrastructure brings that ecosystem in place which encourages the students to go and study. So both infrastructure and quality of education
have improved.
has to improve. It is improving. It has to improve, and I think one source of doing this is the use of technology.
Yes.
Because instead of holding classes physically, you can have teachers giving lectures from some distant place, and seeing that that lecture is seen by all these students. It will have its
In
impact.
fact, all that is now technology has changed practically everything. Even the way people think how to enhance quality.
Yes.
Quality enhancement will definitely be accentuated by the use of technology.
Yes.
And naturally, this also adds the possibility of access to everyone.
Yes.
Now resources will not come in the way.
Yes, yes.
Anybody from anywhere
Ha.
can access courses, and many things of that type have happened.
Very
So
good.
that way it has been very helpful. We will wind up at this.
Okay.
These are the things, and these are very valuable. They will be used in the Inter-University Center for Teacher Education, where we shall be training teachers, conducting researches on how the higher education pedagogy, because we have, can be improved, how it can be modernized, and how all the faculty members, even higher education, bring the best methods, best practical methods in their teaching and learning.
Right.
Because I say faculty members teaching and learning, because learning is a continuous process, and faculty members, successful faculty members, have not only to teach but continuously learn also.
Update their knowledge.
Update themselves.
Absolutely.
And that type of orientation we shall be doing in this institution. And there we shall be using this conversation appropriately in the right form and perspective. And it will help our new generation of young persons who are in the field of education and even elsewhere.
Since
Thank
you're
you very much.
touching on this, I would also like to touch on this. You see, education is also seen and majority seen as a source of getting employment,
Yes.
right? So we have to also ensure that apart from knowledge, we have to ensure that they get jobs. And some universities have started this professors of practice.
Yes, they have.
They've started this.
They're appointing professors of practice.
I'm on this governing body of MIT. So we have also started this here, professors of practice. And they come from their various specializations and teach. And that makes it easier for the students to get jobs in that particular area. And I'm happy now that the government has announced this internships for the students in a large way. About 2 crores have to be interned. It's a major step towards getting jobs and encouraging education.
No, things are happening. Things are happening in this.
I'm very optimistic actually about this country.
So that feeling is in the entire country. The people have yes, we are there. We are on the global stage. We are getting respect.
Right.
Yeah, people take notice of us.
Yes.
And there is no area in which we are lagging behind.
And America has been a good showpiece. In the Silicon Valley. And yesterday I was seeing in the Times of India, they've come out where the 20 top organizations have Indian leaders.
Yes, India, right. No, our young people have brought great name and fame to
Fame
our
to
nation.
us,
This is all, and they are product of our education system.
Yes, yes.
And therefore, this is one of the great successes that I
Right,
normally feel.
absolutely.
Right. Thank you, sir. So